Right, good morning, and thank you very much for joining me again today, 19 January 2020. And today I want to quickly look at the situation that is developing in the MDC-T led by Dr. Thokozani Khuphe. Yesterday, the vice president of MDC-T abruptly resigned. He didn't even write a letter. He didn't even call her. All he did was go on Twitter and says he's going to resign on personal reasons. So for personal reasons that up to now he has refused to disclose to anybody. He has even refused to disclose those reasons to people within the party. So I've talked to a number of people in MDC-T. No one is wiser as to why Obert Gutu chose to resign abruptly, and or they don't want to say what is the reason. What is very clear is that the resignation of Obert Gutu is a big blow to Dr. Thokozani Khuphe. She has been saying she's got people who support her, who left the MDC-T of Morgan Tsvangirai or of Nelson Chamisa because things were not being done properly. Now we have someone very, very senior just resigning abruptly, not telling members, nothing. He just leaves. So if you are a smart person, you immediately realize that there's a problem, and he has a problem with the president. So it's clear that whatever made Obert Gutu to resign is something to do with the president. He did not agree with her. He was lashing out. If you look clearly at his statement, he's trying to make a statement. No, not the usual resignation of saying I'm going to be doing other things. Last night he tweeted that when one door closes, another one opens. So there is a big problem somewhere within the MDC leadership. Obert Gutu just left because he could no longer take it. And this is going to expose Dr. Thokozani Khuphe in a number of ways. So firstly, in terms of depth, the people who are in the MDC-T, who've got a national profile, who have led for a long time in politics, at the moment there are only 2 or 3 people who have held senior positions in other political parties. People like Pugeni, they've held positions within the MDC of Tsvangirai, Chifundlovu. But the rest of the guys are very, very junior guys. So there will be a lack of depth within the party. There's no one who can go and negotiate with Idi Mnangagwa. In that whole team, there's no one there who can negotiate with Idi Mnangagwa and get a deal. So whatever they are doing now, it is totally weakened. They are just no longer as strong as if Obert Gutu had stayed there. Obert Gutu knew people like Nelson Chamisa. He was probably their senior. So now we are starting to only have Dr. Thokozani Khuphe and the people that follow her, the people that don't question whatever she does. And that means that depth is no longer there. Similarly, and maybe next, with the issue of tribal balance. Obert Gutu was a person that many would take as balancing between the Shona tribe and the Ndebele tribe. He was probably the person who was supposed to represent MDC-T within Mashonaland, Harare, and all those areas. Now, as it stands, suddenly it's going to look like, okay, this is a regional party, and most of the guys are coming from this region. The leaders there are coming from this region. So if now you have to appoint, you start thinking, who do we appoint here? You start looking at what criteria are we going to use to appoint a vice president, and suddenly tribe becomes an important thing, because if you now have a president from Matabeleland, a vice president from Matabeleland, your party is no longer balanced. In terms of Zimbabwean realities, that is how it works. The parties in Zimbabwe always have tribal balance built into it. Because if you don't have the tribal balance, the voters, they behave in a strange way. And this is not a joke. This is a very, very serious issue. Then, obviously, we go to the issue of process. What process is Dr. Thokozani Khuphe going to use to appoint a VP? And I've asked the question, which constitution are they going to use? What does the constitution say? At the moment, the national chair is going to be acting, as I was told, but what is the process of appointing a VP? And what is the criteria? How long should a person have been in the MDC to be appointed a VP? This is important because you have gone to court and said we are supposed to be the real MDC. And if these processes do not match the process in the MDC, what is going to happen? Do we have people that have more than 5 years who can fill that position? And that person, are they going to be acceptable to the generality of the members? Are they going to bring confidence to Zimbabweans to support the MDC-T? So the leaving of Obert Gutu, a very significant thing. It's not a thing that you can take very, very lightly. This will weaken Dr. Thokozani Khuphe. What she does now is going to determine whether she succeeds or fails. Otherwise, this is probably the end of the road for her as a serious political person. She can continue, but what will happen is the level at which people were holding her is slowly reducing. So every time someone leaves the party, her claims to being a Democrat, her claims to being the original MDC-T, it starts to diminish. And in the next election, this is going to have an impact. She might end up getting embarrassed in the next elections because voters are looking. And if there are any new, let's say there are new accusations from Obert Gutu, as time goes on, he's going to speak up. If there are any new accusations about her actions, especially with regards to her interaction with Idi Mnangagwa, or her interactions in Poland, or the way she conducts democratic processes within her party, if there are any new accusations, this is going to make her weaker and weaker. And people will stop taking it seriously, especially if there's no clear statements to say what happened. Obert Gutu did not say what happened, and then she did not say what happened. She did not issue a clear statement. The statement that she issued was just to say that she's saddened that her vice president has resigned and she is going to be consulting him from time to time. She did not mention whether she tried to stop him. She did not mention what was the cause of the resignation. She did not mention who is going to replace. So there is almost as if she was stunned when that happened. She did not have an action. There is also a lack of clarity to the members. No one addressed the members in a press conference to say, guys, as MDC-T, this is what has happened. We're going to be coming back to you. It was total silence from the side of MDC-T, which means the reaction, the crisis management is probably a big issue. I don't think if right now Tendai was to resign, the MDC of Nelson Chamisa would just sit and say, oh, they've resigned and issue a paper statement. I'm sure Nelson Chamisa himself would come out and speak and said what happened and calm members. This has been lacking. It's been almost a day, and MDC-T President Dr. Thokozani Khuphe has not been seen regarding what has happened in the MDC-T. So it's very interesting to me when you look at leadership in Zimbabwe. It's based on personalities. Processes are normally not built in, and this is where the difficulty arises, and accusations that people are personalizing political parties come up. With a similar situation in many organizations, when someone leaves who is the senior level, there's often no preparation. It's often a fight between the two top people or the three top people, which causes the other person to leave and say, I'm going, and they don't hand over. There is nothing. They in fact take with them their members. Right, I'm going to end it here today, and I'll be back tomorrow as we continue to explore topics of what is happening in Zimbabwe on a day-to-day basis. Very significant issue. Dr. Thokozani Khuphe weakened by the departure of Obert Gutu, a vice president, and not able at this present moment to explain what happened. Obert Gutu himself not willing to come out to say what caused his resignation, giving us all this speculation that something big happened between the two top people, which made Obert Gutu to resign, and which made it impossible for Dr. Thokozani Khuphe to respond with a bit of detail, with a bit of information to the general membership of the MDC-T. So we're going to be watching what she does next. How is she going to act? What constitution is she going to use? What processes? And who is she going to appoint on a temporary basis? And how are they going to do to improve the fortunes of the MDC-T? Right, I'm going to end it here today, and thank you very much for watching. If you're watching this on our WhatsApp channel, please send to as many people as possible. If you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, please comment, like, and share.